Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind Podcast, a podcast for estate professionals who earn more, work less, and make a huge difference in their communities. If you get value out of this free content, be sure to check out probatemastery.com, where you can get live classes, access to weekly coaching, and valuable courses. To learn more, visit probatemastery.com. Now let's jump into this week's content.
Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the Probate Mastery Real Estate Coaching Call. We do this every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. I would say we didn't do it last week because I was going to be on vacation. It turned out, interesting story. On Monday, we're supposed to leave on Tuesday. Monday afternoon, my grandson had a fever, couldn't travel with us. I was going to take the whole family to Florida. Part of my goal over the last 5 years was a fantasy, take my whole family for a trip from LA, where I live, to Florida. And so actually we canceled the trip and rescheduled it for December. And so I spent last week on vacation here in Los Angeles. Enjoyable. I'm not complaining. And then again, next week in December, because we couldn't book Christmas, we booked the week before. So now I'm taking an extra week. So I say almost every week, but we are going to do it this week, next week. And then we'll be doing it during Christmas week and New Year's as well. I'm Bill Gross. You can find me on social media at Bill Gross Probate. I'm a practitioner in the business. I'm a student and graduate of Probate Mastery. And I do this really to lead a conversation so we can all get better, share best practices, share victories, console each other for defeats, and push as we all get better and become probate masters. A little housekeeping. The website that this call is associated with is probatemastery.com. And if you go there, a couple options. There's some free material. If you want to get certified, there's a quick track to do that. And there's more courses and bundles. And that's what is included to get here and go a little deeper, which what I'm trying to say is, to me, mastery is a process, not a certification program. And I see agents all the time who tell me, I got certified 5 years ago and I never went anywhere. Well, of course, because the process is being valuable, not just buying some data and cold calling it. And here at the Probate Mastery, we're going to give you some different avenues and tools and resources to really master the business. Now, when we're done today, you can continue the conversation on Facebook. The Facebook group associated with this is Estate Professionals Mastermind. And we were 7,000 members, and people, glad to be a member. Terry, glad to have you. Here's a referral looking for an attorney in Michigan. Would be nice to have that request and send a lead to your attorney in a city. Here's one in North Carolina. Courtney's a regular poster. So I would say feel free to put for referrals for attorneys and or realtors here in this group. And then separately, I host probateweekly.com, which is a weekly interview-focused approach where I interview attorneys, vendors around the country. It's my own program, no charge. I'd like to have you join that. Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, probateweekly.com, where you can join on watch it on YouTube at episodes.probateweekly.com. And then I have a Facebook group as well called Probate Weekly, about 3,000 members there. And I also invite you to post your probate-related content. If you want to get more eyeballs, more likes, more clicks, feel free to post material here. I'd love to have you do that to grow your business. I'm Bill Gross. You can get more information about me at Bill Gross, linktree.ee/Bill Gross if you want more information about me. And then tomorrow is a free event. If you're interested, I'm teaching a class I normally pay for. It's a normally paid for program. My email masterclass. So what I do is I do an hour long and cover the 4 ways you can increase your marketing to your current database. And every realtor will struggle with this and say, well, I only know so many people, or I already call them. But this is the foundation of success. I don't care what you do in probate. The place to start is everybody that already knows, likes, and trusts you. This is a free event tomorrow. I'm going to do an hour long. Normally I charge $97. I do repeat this program monthly, and along with the paid version, I do 4 half-hour follow-ups. But you can come tomorrow for free. Go to the Expert Partners Inner Circle group, EPIC, EPAC, Expert Partners. And if you just scroll down a little bit, you'll see my handsome face there. Love to have you join there, and there's no cost for that program or that Facebook group. Okay, post those links. Sure, let me do. That's a good idea. You know, I'd say I have my assistant do it, but I think I'm my assistant, as it turns out. So that's just the way it goes. So let me post those, and I guess I should probably have them all teed up and ready to go, huh? Let's see, www.probateweekly.com and my Facebook group. And then if you want to come to the event, there's my link tree. Okay, and the link tree really has everything on me. Okay, so I wanted to just start to and this call is meant to be participative. So raise your hand, put a question in the chat box. I'm glad to post whatever links I have and share whatever I have with you guys. So raise your hand or put a question. Not seeing any yet. I did prepare a little information I wanted to get you guys to think about, which is, what is your end of the year strategy? You literally have a 12th of the year left. I guess about 8%, 8 point something percent. Now, most of us aren't going to work some of those days. I'm Jewish, so I took a lot of Jewish holidays off. I don't work Christmas Day normally, just because it's an easy day to take off for vacation time. But what days are you going to work in December? And that's the question I really want to focus on. Which days are you going to work, right? And not to mention tomorrow, but to mention tomorrow's the 29th and 30th. It's Thursday. What days are you going to work? And what are you going to do? And what's your strategy at this time of year? I don't know if you've noticed this. I notice everything moves about half as fast now as it did 2 months ago. You call attorneys, half the time they're not in the office. You call real estate agents, they get back less quickly. Half the people answer the phone that used to have. But here's the key but. The people working are ready to do business now. Meaning when I've bought houses, I always shopped in December because of that's when my business was a little slower. It was convenient for me. And I always found that there were half the buyers, half the sellers, less than half the realtors. Less than. I would say to you, if you look in your MLS, this is pretty much true everywhere I've ever done this. The number of transactions, say in December, January, are about 60% of what they are in July. So if you do 10,000 in July or August, you do about 6,000 in December. That's the most common ratio that I see. But that's 60%. But I'm going to tell you that about 40% of the agents are working, which means of the deals available, it's a richer opportunity. It'd be like, 40% less fish, but 6% less fishermen. That's the market we're in right now. And so my challenge to you is to get clear on when you're not working, block off those days. We work in order to have the time with our family and loved ones and friends or whatever it is you do in your life. But when you are working, you want to be productive. So get clear. And my challenge to you guys would be to take your calendar for the rest of the year. I've already done this. I will say I added next week vacation because just the week we get at the hotel worked out that way. So instead of 1 week, I'm taking 2 weeks off the end of the year. I've never done that before, but the rest of the year I'm hustling. I'm on this call. I talked to Bruce about doing these calls. We're going to do this one January 2nd. Why? I'm working January 2nd. If it wasn't a work day, I wouldn't do the call. If it is a work day, I'll do it. I don't care if 5 of you show up. You know what I know? If 5 of you show up on January 2nd, you 5 are ready to do business. I'm willing to work with those 5. I'd rather work with those 5 than 20 people who aren't. I'm not here to educate you. I'm not here to entertain you. I'm really here to challenge you and encourage you and reach my hand out to you to join in together, building our business and becoming masters of this business. So my challenge to you is to figure out what days you're not working, block them out in your calendar or Go Calendar or however you do that. And then the other days you are working, what's your plan for those days? So I give you a couple suggestions. One is on relationships, be prepared to go deeper. Be prepared to have fewer, longer, more relevant conversations. Be prepared to catch people and not just wish them a Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, but actually have a conversation with them. They answered the phone for a reason. They called you back for a reason. And usually it's they want to connect. There's a saying from the book of Course in Miracles, one of the greatest books ever written. All communication is either an expression of love or a cry for help. So when people call you, it's one of those two. Expression of love or call for help, or it could be both at the same time. It's just not trivial. People don't just call you to be trivial. We really don't. And even if we think we do, know subconsciously, when you call somebody, you're either crying for help or you're expressing love. That's just how human beings work. So be prepared to go deeper in conversations. Don't get caught up in because there's a social event during work time to go. Think about strategically, is that a group that's going to get you business. I'll give you an example. For me, one of the things I still haven't finalized is in Los Angeles on December 5th is a mixer for the board for the bar association. I don't normally go to mixers. Number one, I normally don't work after 5 o'clock. Number two. Number three, I don't like to market where other agents are, and I'm seen as one of them. I want to stand out. It's my general rules of marketing. Yet in December, I'm guessing two things. One, the realtors who sponsor the event may not even show up. And or two, there'll be less other realtors, and this is a good event, so I'm going to go. Right? So I look at my schedule with now I'm going to take off some other time during that day to make up for it. But I'm going to be strategic with my calendar. And I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to spend 3 or 4 hours, probably 2 hours there, and then an hour there and back parking and all that stuff. So it's really a 3-hour investment of my time, which is really valuable. Because I want to meet people and go deeper with them. And my goal is to meet 1 or 2 people I'm there. That's it. 1 or 2 attorneys who can refer me business will be there. And by the way, to make it valuable, I'm going to be calling attorneys the week before, inviting them and offering them free drinks. Because even if they don't show up, it's a good excuse to make that phone call and invite them to meet me there. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go deeper and be strategic with my calendar. What are you going to do? Number one. Number two, spend your time on leverageable projects. This is a good time to redo your computers or systems that maybe if you're busier in the summer and less in winter, you have less, transactions right now. It might be a good time to look at some of those systems that have been holding you back, or relaunching your marketing. So for example, I'm meeting with my team on Thursday. Questions I have are, do we want to change our time slot? I've been doing my probate weekly on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. Maybe we want to move it earlier. Do you want to change the logo and color scheming of it? And then the technology behind it. Do I want to go from a Zoom call to another technology? If I notice on this call right now, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people with cameras on. Right. So there's other technology that for the non-camera on person, I think it's a big mistake for the rest of you. If you're going to be here, if not, you can watch on replay. But the opportunity is to ask questions, interact, and market yourself to get referrals. But if people are not going to have cameras on my call, not this one, but on my call, there's another technology that gives more for people to chat, and it's better technology in some other ways. And I'm going to bore you with the details. I just want you to understand my thought process is I'm going to spend an hour on that question this week. I would not spend an hour on that in June or July. I just had too many listings and too many transactions. So again, I will leave you with 2 thoughts, is really 3. What days are you working as opposed to what you're not working? And then when you are working, go deeper and look for leverageable projects. Things you can spend an hour on now that become 2, 3, 4, and 5 hours later. Video is a perfect example of that. My average video now is 1 to 10. I spend an hour on recorded video. I get 10 hours of watch time. So obviously, how much do I want to do? As much as I can bear, because that's a great leverageable ratio. Okay, and Michelle asked about tomorrow's call, email class tomorrow. So I'll put that in the chat box again with the link. And I see Michelle, you got your hand up, so let's get you unmuted. And what's going on with you?
Hello. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. Hello. Okay, so yeah, I jumped on those links and I can't find I can find the Eventbrite one for 97, but I can't find the one that's tomorrow. So
okay,
that's why I was like, the expert one. Okay, so I tried to pick your brain before the call, and you were kind enough
before you go. Did you ever see the Seinfeld episode? Hello. Did you ever see that?
Hello.
Okay, that's what you sounded like.
Yes.
That's what you sounded like. Okay,
yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So you asked me to share it with everybody. So here I am.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I found
in chat box, you'll be next. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, so I found some of it, but I can't remember all of it.
Yep.
So this gal, she does the senior call, and her name's Catherine Ambrose, and she put something on about, I'm pretty sure it was NAMSS, National Association of Movers for Senior Specialists, something like that. And she said we should get involved and blah, blah, blah. So when I kind of looked it up, I mean, obviously some of it makes sense, right? If we're in the senior community, we're trying to help seniors, and if they're moving from place to place, then we want to be that person that helps them do so, right? If they've got something to sell, they're upsizing, downsizing, whatever, they're going into an assisted living, whatever that looks like. But when I went on to this page, and you might be seeing it there, it looked like you could get a certification, but you had to, like, it's not what I want to do. I don't want to be their personal, oh my gosh. Like, one of the things was, where do you put the sofa? Where do you put this? Where's it the best? Kind of their, right? So that wasn't it. So I was like, oh, so how can I get involved? And when I asked her, she said, show up to the call basically it's 6 a.m. my time. And I'm not brain activated at 6 a.m. It's just not who I am. I work better at night and during the day than I do mornings.
Michelle, I'm so with you. I'm so with you.
Yeah, right. 6 a.m.
If I am brain activated at 6 a.m., I'm trying to get unbrain activated for another hour or so. So I'm so with you on that. Go ahead.
Yes. So I was curious if you were familiar with it, or, if you had any insights, or if you belong to it or know somebody who is. Just picking your brain on that one.
Got it. So the one I think that you're asking about, just for the those who called, Michelle, before the call, was asking me about if I knew about this organization. And I think that's Catherine Ambrose and Empowered Senior. And I know nothing about her. I know nothing about a program. What I can say is there are a lot of people who have a business model of certifications. And in fact, the company we're with, Probate Mastery, has education that ends up in a certification for probate. Now, I will say that uniquely in the world, in my opinion, attorneys value certifications. In California, for sure, and in most states, there are, you pass the bar, you're an attorney, and you have the ability to practice all the law of that state, right? Kind of like a real estate agent. You pass the license exam in California, you can sell everything from, vacant land, houses, mobile homes, well, to some degree, commercial, industrial. You can sell bridges, office towers. It's all the same license. But attorneys in particular get certified in niches, and therefore that gives them the right to say they're experienced or experts in that, and they project that on realtors. So they'll often ask for a realtor to be certified. The downside of that is I find realtors who take a class like this, and because of the certification, will use that as the badge of honor, rather than me saying that's really more the entry ticket to the process. And I think that we've created a bad name for ourselves in our industry, in that we have a lot of people, a lot of certifications that don't really mean much. Again, I know nothing about this particular one, but there are a lot of people who have programs that encourage you to get a certain amount of education. They usually have some sort of a network. If you join us, then we're going to send you referrals. You never gain referrals from it. They often sell some sort of data or follow-on programs. I do want to say this, though. I think real estate, people think of probate as a niche. I think of probate really as not a niche, as like a master niche, a super niche. And within probate, there's multiple niches. One niche that I work on is attorney referrals. There's another niche which would be senior housing referrals, people who get placed into senior housing, and then the salespeople there refer families to real estate agents. There's wealth management referrals. There's fiduciary referrals. There's estate sales referrals. There's a million niches within the niche of probate. And there's the Mom's House, which is I interviewed the proprietor of that. Great program in this area of seniors as well. They do a certification, and they also have a bit of a network and and what I think is important is the continuing education. And so what I'll say to you is, I believe that in everything in life, and this is because I'm a little older now, I feel like I can say that. I have some perspective. What I've learned is, in anything in life, to transform yourself, you need three things. You need a coach or a mentor or a leader or a rabbi in my spiritual path. Number 2, you need a system, a process, a book. In religion, the Bible. In most organizations or companies, there's a process, a book, a manual. And third, you need to have a community for people who can go to when the leader's not available, but also to work as colleagues, to push each other, encourage each other along the way. And so when you look at a program like this, you want to ask yourself, does it have those 3 components? Normally, somebody has to be available more than just come to the sales webinar. And so when I see people who market programs and certification programs who you can never talk to unless you show up at that webinar, it just tells me they're not really enjoying the process of helping people build their business. Now, I don't want to have a coaching company. Bruce Hill owns Probate Mastery. I really have nothing to do with that. I offer to do these calls for him. And full disclosure, he does give me now compensation, modest compensation for my time. It's more a matter of respect for me, and I appreciate it. But I really am not doing this for the call. I'm not doing this for time. I'm doing this for referrals. I love anybody who's selling a probate in LA to give me a call and to build my team nationally. But I love to help agents. That's why I'm on this call. And some of you called me, I'm glad to give you a 15-minute, 30-minute conversation on how I can help you with your business and get you guys centered. I don't charge for that. When somebody doesn't, when you said that you'd only meet you at the webinar, to me, that's a sign. Let me back up. I find also that people, organizations that educate, you can measure their real value by how much information they give you for free. The ones that give you nothing for free, it's because they have so little real value, they have to safeguard it. The companies are effective, in my experience, have so much value that they'll give you more for free than you could ever manage, and then try to help you understand how to organize it and to effectively use it. So long answer, Michelle, but I think it's an important topic. Did I answer your question a little bit? You're muted. You want to stay muted? That's fine.
No, it's whoops. Oh, okay, there. Sorry. Yeah, no, I didn't want any background noise. No, that's awesome. And I did find it. National Association of Senior and Specialty Move Managers.
Okay.
So my guess is, yes, I agree with you. Certifications can be overwhelming, but my guess would be it'd just be another feather in our cap, right? Another way to help seniors if we're with these people.
Well, I don't think that there's much you can learn on the subject that isn't of value. And I can tell you, I think based on the business I'm doing, that if I go into a program for an hour and get one good idea that I can use in my business is valuable, right? One listing's $25,000. So I would say, if you approach it from that, yes. Where I find people who struggle is they're almost broke and they're thinking, I'm going to put this last $500 into this program and it's going to turn my business around. It's not. And so you have to be responsible with your money. And that's why I always say, well, consume all the free information first and then start buying the coaching before. And some people don't have to afford to wait and they can buy it. And other people should wait but jump in and then they run out of money before they can get to production.
And then one other question. So back kind of to and thank you for all that. Back to the beginning of what you were saying. Yes, I am working because it's like you said, people call and try and find agents and they can't find them because this is holiday time, right? And so I am actually extremely busy. And in 27 years, I have found my Januaries consistently are one of my best GCI months because I am the only one that can be found, which is awesome. But here's where I'm going with this. I do really great at probate. I love helping seniors. I get stuck with the lawyer piece, and obviously you're the king at it. So how do you approach? I saw that face. You are the king at it. So when I've talked to attorneys, a lot of times I get, well, I already have somebody. Well, I know I have probably more value or different value, right? They can still use who they refer it to, but I guarantee you I bring a strength because we can't all have all the strengths. It's impossible. So I guarantee I have a strength that the other person doesn't have, and we could both get the referrals. How do you approach them so that they'll at least listen to you, that you have a different approach or you're different or you can pick up those weaknesses?
The first thing is I don't approach them the way other agents do. I'm not going to cold call them. I'm not going to cold email them. Right. So for me, and the other thing I've interviewed on my Probate Weekly show, if you ever watch it, I've interviewed now probably over 100 something attorneys. I always ask them a question: what percentage of business do you get from realtors versus the business that you give to realtors? Because every real estate agent imagines that attorneys just sit in their office with golden tickets of listings and hand them out like Santa Claus at the mall. And it's not how it is. In fact, it's the opposite. They get, of their probate business, usually about 80% come to them from realtors. So they have a listing to give out. Now, they might get it from a realtor who's lousy, but if they get one or two cases from a realtor who's lousy, who are they going to give the next listing referral to? Especially if they think that all realtors are basically lousy to begin with. Doesn't matter, right? If you're just as good as the other guy or gal, why the hell not? So I think that you have to market them in a way that's different, and then you have to be different than them to warrant them treating you different than the other ones. And so that's why I've, focused on things that they don't do well. Now in LA, it's different than, I think you're in Colorado. They're in different markets. In LA, people know this. We have the highest poverty rate of any county in America, any large county. LA is a very poor county by percentage. We just have a lot of people, and we have a lot of wealthy people. But so our probate cases are a lot of very poor people who can't get credit for a bond, can't get money to hire the attorney, can't get money for the filing fees. And so a lot of my business is focused. Once I learned that was the problem, how do we solve those problems? No realtor even looks at those problems, and I'm solving those problems. So I would say to you, you need to find out what their problems are, be the solution. Then you're the natural person for them to turn to when they have a probate case. You want to be the one that they have to come to because you're so much better than the other person, and number one. And number two, at least work at driving business to them. That's why I do the Probate Weekly, and I interview attorneys. I'd be glad to interview any attorney you want in Colorado for my show. I don't think I've interviewed a Colorado attorney. I'd be glad to. And if that's the way you get them some publicity, great. That's why I do social media with attorneys, because I'm promoting their business in a way that other agents don't. And there are a couple who've tried to compete with me, and good luck. I mean, I work pretty hard. It's kind of like anything else in life. If you're going to compete with me, you better get up early in the morning and you better work hard every day. And most don't and fall apart. So
no, that's awesome.
Pick an area that you're willing to stand up and say, this is an area that I can make a contribution to your business in that nobody else is. And like I said, for me, it was bonds and credit. You getting signed on bonds, their checking accounts, their inheritance advances, helping them solve the low-income money problem. It's different in your case. And so find out what the problems they have are and figure out how to solve those problems better than any other agent.
And then have you ever gone to any kind of attorney mixer for probate attorneys?
I did pre-COVID when I was out every day. So pre-COVID, I went to court every day, suit and tie. And I was kind of the guy, they saw me all the time. And so when there was a mixer, it made sense to go. When COVID hit, LA was more locked down than anywhere in the country, I believe, maybe with the exception of San Francisco or New York. So like when COVID hit, like we did nothing, like there was nothing to go to. Even still, we have people, walk around with masks on, and I mean, it's a more common thing here in LA than anywhere else still. So I don't want an attorney to think I'm an idiot by marketing to them during COVID. And so I've just changed my whole practice. And so I think I mentioned there was a mixer in LA in December. I think that'll be the first event I've gone to since COVID. And there's some strategic reasons why I'm going to go, whereas I haven't gone to anything before now. So no, the answer is no. But also, to be honest, I don't have to. I mean, I have a pretty good business flow of business coming in. And so what I'm doing is working. I'm busy enough with what I have. I haven't had to add anything else like that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. My pleasure, Michelle. Thank you. Okay. I know you've been waiting I see a hand up for Joe. Before that, Tara's been waiting very patiently, not knowing how to put her hand up. So we're going to ask her to jump in here and say hi. There you go. Hold it. No, we can't hear you. I think you're muted on your end, I think.
you hear me now?
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I still can't figure out the hand thing. I've been Googling it, but okay. So I am super new. I'm not a probate master. I've taken the foundations course and I'm going to take the paid mastery program. But I had a question for you about working in two different markets or working from long distance. So I just moved from the West Coast to the Midwest, from Portland to Tulsa. I don't know anyone here in Tulsa, and all of my past sales are in Portland. And so I don't really know which direction to go as far as trying to build a probate business. Can it be done? I'm still licensed in Oregon, Washington, and then Oklahoma. I know that in previous podcasts, you mentioned that you don't really walk the properties and you aren't really at the properties. So do you need to be local to a city, or do you just need to know it?
Well, know it well enough to sell the house if you know other things so well that they'll be overlooked. Meaning, I believe I know the probate process so well and the real estate sales, market negotiation process so well that I don't have to know more about the house than somebody else walking and taking pictures and video can show me. And that requires me to be that good. And sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm not. And you win some and you lose some. Tell me about your past sales in Portland. How, were you, full-time? Were you successful? How much business were you doing there?
Yeah, I was doing between 15 and 20 a year. And I've been licensed for maybe 5 or 6 years. So I was working my way up, but more buyers than sellers. I did have...
I mean, more people who now own homes.
Right.
Whereas before they didn't own homes, now they all own homes, your past clients.
Right, yeah.
There's a little mindset there I'm challenging you on. I think it's really important.
That's true. So I have a follow-up question about that if no one else has questions. But I don't have anyone, I don't think I've done any probate or estate sales. I may have done a couple of estate ones when I was on the buyer side, and I just know that because they were, the seller was signing everything through the executor, or, the owner of the house was dead. It was clear from the paperwork, but there wasn't an attorney involved or anything like that. So I don't know if I have any traction with trying to get, especially attorney relationships established from Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And also the question is, how hard would it be to learn the probate process from a county that I'm not physically in? If I'm at the beginning of my probate education.
Right. Well, some information is available online. I don't know Tulsa at all. The only thing I know about Tulsa is I flew with somebody to Toledo, TOL, and their bags got marked and sent to Tulsa, TUL, and he didn't have his bags for a business trip, and I did. And so I've been wearing nice suits and ties, and he's wearing the same sweats he wore on the plane for 2 days, looking like an idiot. Other than that, I don't know anything about Tulsa. But, and I'm not sure where in Tulsa. Maybe you're in a suburb or whatever. And some cities have multiple counties, like Atlanta has multiple counties for the city of Atlanta. I don't know where Tulsa is as far as counties, but I would say, how hard is it? Depends what you have online. And then you can obviously go to the courthouse in Tulsa.
Right.
Now, going to Portland, I don't know. Are you able to travel? Do you have a family situation where you can't travel, or you can travel? And
yeah, I can travel. It's just difficult. It's difficult to leave the family for that long. So, but I do have the opportunity to travel. I own property there.
And do you go anyhow to Portland once a year or twice a year? Like I love Florida, but I go there every year for a convention. So while I'm there, I do other things. So I invest in property. And then this year I'll be doing a probate event in Miami with our convention. So, I'm already going to Florida. I'm already on a plane. I'm already paying for a hotel. Might as well do something else. Are you already going to Portland?
Yeah, I go there a few times a year, maybe two to three times a year.
You could always add on one day and go to the court that day and or meet people that one day while you're there in town. Mm-hmm. And, I think that's about being strategic with your calendar and your time. I don't want to give you prescriptions. I don't want to be like a doctor who's going to, give you cancer prescriptions over the phone without really doing a proper deep dive. But I would urge you to value the business you have more than you have so far. Try to find a way to keep that business and build on it. the people that you know in Portland become audience as you try to build your audience in Tulsa too. Your transactions, you could talk about Portland, even though you're maybe trying to build your new business in Tulsa. So I would really
Hello, Alex.
urge you to hold on a
Yes,
second.
man. Good. How are you?
There you go. I would urge you to really properly value that business more and think about it. And what would it take to keep business going there? Do you have partners there that can, like I'm with eXp Realty. We have, one company you can join in multiple states, and we have people all over the place in all those states. So for me, it's ideal to go to Florida where some other people, you have to join another RE/MAX or another Keller Williams. So I don't know how that lays out for you. Those are big, complicated questions, but I would just off the top of my head, I would say, I would think about how you can keep the old business and leverage that.
Yeah.
And whether that means you do probate in Portland or probate in Tulsa, I would always put more resources, new resources in the new city if that's where you're going to be, just because it's easier. Like I wouldn't spend a lot of time at the Portland courthouse. I would, maybe if I was there, I'd go, but I would make sure I go into the Tulsa courthouse and learn the probate process in Tulsa.
Right. Okay.
Does that help a little bit?
Yeah.
Come back weekly, tell us your update and ask more questions, and let's go together with it, okay?
Okay, great. Just real quick, does anyone know how to raise your hand though? Like, is there?
On the Zoom, on the desktop app, on
Yeah.
reactions.
Okay, reaction. Okay.
If you click on that, there's like little icons with a clap, a thumbs up, and there's a raise hand there on reactions.
Okay, I will explore that. Thank you.
Sure. Good luck. Okay, Joy, you've been waiting very patiently. Let's get you
Hey,
here.
Jill. Hi.
How you doing?
Good. So my question's sort of like Tara's. Let me see if I can start my video. Hi.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, that was worthwhile.
So I took the probate mastery a while back. I did some probably 5 probates in the Bay Area pre-COVID.
Wow.
And
Wow.
then I started traveling with my husband for work. So my question now is, I want to go and start doing probates again, but I don't know how to do it or how to build my vendor team remotely. Any tips on how to do that? Because we're still traveling, so we're not here in the Bay Area,
Right.
and we're in places every three to 6 months, and we're kind of moving around everywhere. So when I was doing probate, I was here living in the Bay Area.
Well, what is it you can't do that you were doing before?
I guess build like the attorney referral and stuff like that. I know
How'd you do that?
I didn't at the time. So that was one that I didn't have any attorney referrals.
What did you do then that you can't do now that generate
I
business?
actually met with the state sale companies.
Estate sale companies?
Yeah, so I was meeting the vendors. So I guess
so let me be more precise. What were you doing that generated business for you that you can't do now? Because all that matters is generating business. To be honest, all the time I get a question, well, how do I build my vendor list? I have to build my vendor list before I get listings. No, you don't. Your vendor list is you.
Well, I never got any referrals from the vendor list. I did all the cold callings to the probate leads. So that's kind of how
You can do that from anywhere.
Yes, I can do that for anywhere, but I'm thinking, so like when I want to refer them out to like a vendor, to like one of my vendor partners, how do I build my vendor partner now that
so I think this is a mindset issue. So you have for some coaching. This is a little rough coaching. You're not paying me, so I can be honest with you, okay?
Yeah.
So you can fire me, but I don't really care because I'm not getting paid. So the mistake agents make is they think the vendor list is the list. The piece of paper, the list, Joe, Mary, whatever. They think that's the list. No, the list is you. You're the vendor list. Now, you're going to find somebody to delegate the activities to.
Right.
So, for example, if you said, "Hey, Bill, can you find me a locksmith to change the locks in Torrance, or can you change the locks in Palmdale?" Those are 2 hours apart. Those are 2 different locksmiths. I haven't done either one. I've had a locksmith in Hawthorne recently. I've had one in, other cities. So the job is not to have at the ready so that can start marketing the vendor list. It's as you have a request, you find the vendor and they add them to your list, and you're forever adding to your list. That's why you want to network with other agents also. What company are you with?
With RE Broker Group. They're based in San Diego. Yeah.
Do they have agents in your area, in the Bay Area?
No, they don't. No.
One of the challenges you're going to find is, and one of the reasons I joined the company I did was because we have a network. You need to find some network. You could use the estate planning mastermind group as a place to say, hey, I'm looking for a locksmith in this area. There's other realtor networks like on Facebook where people have that. There's realtor networks in the Bay Area where people have that. But you're the network, and then you solve the problem. If I said to you, give me an example of somebody that you don't have on your vendor team today that you think you need. Give me an example of somebody.
I don't have an attorney, an estate attorney.
Well, that's different. The attorney is going to give you business. Tell me about somebody that you're referring business to as a vendor.
As a vendor, the estate sale company that I guess I do have one, but then I haven't really used them for a while.
Okay, so let's imagine you don't have a estate sale company. If I said to you, Joy, I'm going to give you $1 million for you if you give me a good estate sale company by the end of the day today, could you have one?
Yeah, I can.
How about $500,000?
Yeah.
How about $25,000?
Yeah, I get your point.
$10 maybe not. Right? So it's just a question of time and money. And so I think you have to understand that's the job, is networking with them. And then what I do is I turn around and I interview the vendor, put it on my YouTube, and they become content. Maybe they refer me somebody, or maybe somebody sees them and refers me somebody. I don't really pay that close attention. It all kind of works out. So don't let the lack of vendors. Now, there's a different problem if you don't have attorneys referring you business. That's something you have to work on. But you said yourself, you can cold call them from anywhere.
Yeah.
So you're using the lack of vendors to stop you from cold calling from anywhere. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I took your excuse away. You can blame your husband. As a husband of 37 years, I can't blame for everything. So I can tell you can blame your husband if you want, but the truth is, it's a mindset. You can do this wherever you want, the cold calling part, and then as you have a vendor need, you'll find somebody. You just have to find somebody to do that stuff. Doesn't really matter.
Okay. Now let's do so how about the attorney side of it, which is the getting referrals from attorneys? I know that was you were going to the courthouse. How did you do it after or post COVID? Because I know that.
Right. So really when the court shut, I had like a ton of listings pending court approval that all were going to fall apart. And all my lead generation was going to court basically. So I basically was out of business. And I had to, think about it. And this was what I didn't want to do. I think the court closed like March 18th of 2020. What I didn't want to do was spend 6 months thinking about it. I knew that I wanted to get a jump on whatever the answer was. I wanted to be jumping on it ahead of time. So while everybody else was thinking about it, I was already in action. I actually went to a great webinar back then with Grant Cardone. That was his strategy, which is figure it out now your solution and get on it right away. And if it doesn't work, you can pivot. But if it works, you'll be ahead of everybody else. So at that time, I really didn't have any video game at all. And I realized early on that Zoom would be really, really valuable and really important. So I got a paid account. I learned how Zoom worked inside out. I watched 1 million videos on YouTube on how to do Zoom calls. And I did both one-on-ones and recorded them and hosted a couple podcasts that survive today. And so I really worked at that and just spent 3 hours a day doing lead generation on video format rather than going to court or door knocking or cold calling or anything else. And it worked. It took a little while to catch, but once it caught on, it's been fantastic.
Okay. I will try that.
Yeah, and I think you also have to find what works for you. Russ, I see your hand up. I'll get right to you 1 second. I think you have to find your value and find your method that works for you. So I'm not saying going to court's the best. It was the best for me. And I'm not saying video is the best. I'm saying it became the second best or now is the best for me. You need to think about you and what your skills are and what the needs are in your market and what your opportunities are, and find that one that you work to generate the business. And I'll just tell you, if you have enough listings, you'll find enough vendors to help you. Like right now, vendors return my phone calls like that. Title, escrow, lenders, they're all like returning my phone calls. 6 months ago, they're all too busy. They're all on vacation. They're all playing around in the middle of the day doing stuff. Now, they're calling me back right away. Title companies, man, they're killing to get my business right now. So this is the time to work hard and get some business. Okay?
I will do that. Thanks, Bill.
Sure, thanks, Troy. Okay, patiently waiting again, Russell, we'll bring you in.
Bill, hi.
Hi.
I'm over in Florida. I'm an EXP guy.
Nice. What part of Florida?
Central Florida, Orlando area.
I'm going to Surfside in December.
Surfside. Anyway, Florida's a big state. Anyhow,
Big state.
I'm new to probate stuff, but I've been chasing down, probate cases, and I got about 40 different, leads, I guess you could call them, which I've been mailing and stuff like that too. But I started looking at the attorneys that represent these 40 people. And out of these 40 people, I think there must be about 38 different attorneys. So it's not like one attorney seems to be grabbing most of the business. So I'm just wondering, how does one go ahead and approach, the situation? Just keep on trying to generate more leads and get more attorneys and go after the people who seem to have the most business. Don't know, just looking for a little direction there. I can't approach all 38 of them. Obviously.
Why not?
I don't know how to do it, other than doing a mass email or something and just picking them off one by one.
Well, but you could call 38, a couple a day, two a day, in a month you've called all of them, right?
Yeah, well, I've tried calling a few of them, and it's hard getting past the gatekeeper there. Most cases.
One of my favorite metaphors for our business is there's a TV series called Gold Rush. You ever seen it?
No.
I had surgery like 5 years ago, maybe longer. It must be, now I say that, it's probably 8 or 10 years. I was in the hospital. I don't watch television, but in the hospital they had the TV on. I don't know. Everybody's like brain dead. You watch whatever was on, and I was watching this program. It was fascinating. These guys were mining gold in the Yukon, and the thing that struck me was that to make $1 million worth of gold, to get $1 million worth of gold, you had to move tons and tons of dirt to get to the gold. I mean, it's just unbelievable amount of earth movers and different machines and dumping it and trucking it and putting it in a machine. They wash all this stuff off and then they sift it through and they put another thing, they sift it through to end up a couple ounces of gold, and it adds up to being millions of dollars. And I think as realtors, just to check your language there, I don't know enough to really criticize you, but I would just ask you to check yourself. When you say it's hard, I say, well, so what? It's hard. I mean, life is hard. Anything of value is hard. That doesn't mean it's the wrong direction. It just means that you are putting an effort, and you need to check your results for the time you're putting in and monitor your progress. I get asked a lot by realtors, what's the easiest way to get business from attorneys? I don't know. Because anything that's easy isn't of value, because somebody else can come in and do the same thing at some point and compete with the business. So I would say, yeah, it is hard. All of the things you do in our business are hard, but if you do them better and more consistently than your competition, then even though it's hard, you will be insanely successful. That's my experience. When people, it's funny because I have people call me up and say, I just want to sit in your office and watch you work for the day. Okay, it's not very glamorous. I'm on the phone. I start at 8 o'clock, which really means 7:45 or so. And I work and take a little break and walk the dog and work, take a break, and then usually exercise 12 to 1 and go back to work until 5 o'clock. It's not glamorous, but I'm working the whole time. Some people might call that hard work. So I don't know the answer, other than you probably need to spend 3 or 4 hours a day doing something to generate business. And it could be phone calling, it could be going in person somewhere. It could be, I guess, designing or working on digital, paying for and mailing mail, but you have to do something that connects to people, and it's going to be hard work. And I think I don't mean to overemphasize that word you used, but I do think that word is indicative of the challenge for you, which is you have to find a method of communicating with a lot of people. The other thing is, when you say that you bought leads, again, I would check the language, because really when you buy from a company, they give you a spreadsheet or a file, name, address, phone number, and characteristics. That's just data. Those aren't leads, right? You have a definition of what a lead is. A lead is somebody that you know has a need for what it is you're providing at some point. And so really you sift through the data to find the leads and then nurture the leads. Gotcha. I just listened to an interview with the owner of a lead generation company, and I heard his kind of BS story, because he's telling his customers who he wants to buy his product, the average lead, that's his word, I don't think it's a lead, converts in 6 to 12 months. Well, no, the average, he said, was 6 to 12 months. Well, the average is not 6 to 12 months. The average is a number. In mathematics, the average is a number. There's a range, it might be a standard deviation. I'll get technical with statistics, but the average is a number. And so these companies will sell you stuff, and I'll listen to them all the time and say, oh yeah, the average lead doesn't sell, for a year to 2 years. Well, the average lead, I can tell you, when I tracked it statistically, I've seen other companies who did it statistically, the average conversion from the initial lead to closing was over 2 years. So you prepared to work with people for that long before you convert to business. And if you're not, then you're throwing, if that's the average, you're throwing away at least half of the lead possibilities, because you're not working them long enough to convert until the point where they convert. Does that help a little bit?
You betcha. Everything you say is golden. Almost everything.
Well, and again, unlike maybe we're not selling anything on this call. I am going to sell you the American dream. I'm going to sell you on the process, if you commit yourself to this, to being a master in probate. And that's the other part, is when I got married 37 years ago, not that I listened to anything he said, other than I heard this line, not that I live it, but I know I'm supposed to as a husband. He said, the key to marriage is not finding the right partner, it's being the right partner. And I would say the same is true with real estate and finding attorneys. The key is not finding the right attorneys, it's being the right realtor for the attorney. So you have to find out what they need and who needs your service, and be in front of them at the right time.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thanks, Russell. My pleasure. Okay. So let's see. Hand up Tara. Let's see, for two scoops.
I'm sorry. I don't know how do you put your hand up here electronically.
Oh, we're gonna do a training on that. On the Zoom application on the bottom, you see reactions. If you click on that, you'll see among the options there, raise a hand. In fact, Tara, I think, didn't know how to do before, now does. So she's now my first graduate of my training program on how to raise your hand in the Zoom application. There you go. And she's getting, now, Michelle, you're clapping, that's nice. But if you use the Zoom reactions, there's a clapping hand there. That would be for extra points. Okay, there you go. Michelle's giving you the clap. There, a slow clap. Okay, Tara, what's up? Tara, you're muted again on your end.
Okay. You hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. So I'm hoping to go to the courthouse here in Tulsa this week. What are your tips for making the most of it? As someone who's totally new, I don't know that I'll be able to prospect attorneys and take them out for coffee that day. But what should I be listening for or watching? Just what are your tips for a beginner?
Sure. So I would say when you go to court, you're doing three things at once. That's why it's highly leverageable. One, you're going to learn about the probate process. You're going to learn so you can help your clients understand what the process goes like. You're going to learn so you can be of value to the attorneys that you're looking to get business from. So part of it's like a recon mission. You're just learning what the schedule is, where the room is, who the judges, how many judges are there? Is there 1, 2, 3, what days they do things, what time they do things? Just You're just learning what the process looks like, what's available. Do they have computers you can research the files on there? You're there to learn as much as you can. In LA, they post up flyers for free probate classes that are at the law library across the street. I learned that by going there in person. You never would have figured that out without going there. So number one, learn. Number two, obviously network. Smile, be pleasant, introduce yourself to people. In LA, the first hearings start at 8:30. The judges are almost always not starting until 8:45 or 9 o'clock. And there's some people get there early. So I would get there at 8:15. I'm in a suit and tie, big smile, cup of coffee. Anybody in front of the court I'm looking to go to, I introduce myself. Hey, I'm Bill Gross. I'm a realtor specialized in probate. What brings you here today? Some people say, oh my God, you talked to me. Most people, if you say it with a smile, will just answer why they're there. And I would look for the ones that look like attorneys, dressed a certain way. And some would talk. Some to this day, I have relationships I've met that I've only met them by going to court and meeting them. So number one, like I said, is educate. Number two is the network. And then number three is to lead generate, to actually look for actual leads. So in the courtroom, sometimes you'll hear, I would hear a case where they would say, well, we can't approve you with the letters because your brother's fighting you to be the administrator. And I would call the attorney and say, hey, if you get a special administrator appointed, I can sell the house. We can put the money in a blocked account. So I would look for leads for people who need help. Or I'd see a customer who didn't have an attorney. I can introduce you to one that won't charge you money up front. So I would do actual lead generation there. So I would say those are three activities. There's a fourth activity, which is social media. I would say when you go to court, where do you park? Maybe it's not a big deal in Tulsa. In LA, it's a big deal. Which parking lot do you go to? Which is the safest parking lot? Again, may not be a big deal in Tulsa, but walking from the parking lot to the courthouse is a adventure in criminal avoidance in Los Angeles. Yeah. Especially me, I'm a big guy, gray hair. I walk a little slower. I wear a keep. I actually had a guy yelling out anti-Semitic threats at me as I walk from my car to the courthouse. So I strategically park a certain place. And then I also just take a little video in front of the courthouse about what I learned while I was there that day. So I would say an opportunity for some social media as well.
Okay, just a quick follow-up. So if I am not a probate specialist yet, should I introduce myself as that, or should I introduce myself as a realtor who's trying to learn the process?
I always tell people I'm a real estate agent focused on probate and properties involved with litigation.
Okay.
I don't say I'm a probate expert. My email does, my website does, but I don't say that. I don't think that sounds very humble. Mm-hmm. I would say that I'm focused on probate real estate. Okay. And that's what I'm looking for. You don't want to claim much. There's a saying, who you are speaks so loudly, I can hardly hear what you're saying. So I'm dressed in a dark suit, white shirt, red tie, like a high-end attorney. I carry a briefcase on rollers, like the attorneys who are in cases. They have all kinds of books and files. I have one of those roller. The only thing you need are my keys, my wallet, and my lunch maybe, but I carry that. It's like a prop. Yeah. I look like an attorney. Right. And I have two sets of business cards, my regular realtor cards with a picture on it. I bought a second set, very cheap, that look like attorney's cards, which are just plain white and black print that give the attorneys. So when they see me, they look like I'm one of them, but I'm not. I'm a realtor, and that's kind of the vibe I want to put off. So I'd say dress like an attorney, whatever a high-end attorney, or maybe think of the governor, the female governor of Oklahoma, or the female governor of whatever state you can think of. Politicians, whether you like them or not, if you dress like, as a man, President Trump or President Biden, that's the look for attorneys in LA. And for women, whatever the equivalent is, look like candidate Nikki Haley or something like that, running for president or governor. That's the look and also think about almost all politicians are attorneys. They're like super attorneys. So that gives you a clue as to, I think, how you should talk, how you should look. I'm not getting into the politics of one right being wrong, but that's the vibe you want to give up. So when you meet people and you act like you know what you're doing, you kind of are saying, I respect your game. I'm playing your game. That's what people want to hear.
Right. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Okay. That gave you an 8-hour class on earn in about 2 minutes there. So it's the best I can do on 1 foot. Thanks, Terry. It was a pleasure. Okay, so I think that is all the questions, all the hands in the. Did I catch everybody? Hand in the air. I think we got everybody. Yeah. And yeah, I think we're all done. Okay, good. Good time to wrap up because we're on the hour now. So this was the Probate Mastery Real Estate Coaching Program. We do this almost every Tuesday, except for during holidays, 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's recorded, live stream on YouTube. And then the website, if you want to, find out more and take the coaching program, probatemastery.com. And there's a basics program. There's a certification program, which is a great place to start. I took that 5 years ago, and that's led me on my path to success in real estate. And there's additional courses and bundles. I think I've taken them all and paid for them all. I'm not an employee of the company. I'm just a colleague of yours looking to help build this organization. And then continue conversation in Facebook, Estate Professionals Mastermind, 7,000 members. Ask questions, network, look for out-of-area attorneys or real estate agents or vendors. And then personally, I host probateweekly.com every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Love to have you join us there. And my Facebook group is Probate Weekly. And I have about 3,000 members in that. And again, post questions, masterminding, and or any probate related content. I'd love to get you some views, likes, and all that good stuff. My link tree is link.tr.e/Bill Gross if you want to follow me more. And then tomorrow, I'm hosting a free email mastermind class. Normally I charge $97 for this. This one's free. I'm going to offer it to those people to take it because there's 4 follow-up sessions for 30 minutes where I believe email is your foundation of a marketing program. But this is free tomorrow, so feel free, and I'll cover all the material in an hour at the Expert Partners Inner Circle. Hope you can make it there. Otherwise, reach out if I can help in any way. Call, text, or email, @Bill Gross Probate on social media. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much.